is about 4 minutes past 10, and I am Pam Juddum, standing in for John Merkel.
I'm Bill Campbell.
I'm Françoise Elise.
Okay. And the first order of business is to go over the minutes for February 21st. So we three were all there. It looks good to me.
Yep.
And I think under new rules, we can,
Yeah.
if there's an objection, I'll make a motion that we accept the minutes.
Second.
Okay, then so the minutes are good. All right. Pine Street grant, does anybody know where that stands at the moment?
I don't,
I don't either.
My last, oh geez, I know, I do. I've been dealing with Brandy. It took a while for approval to get through governor and council, and I think it did, just recently. So I think we're moving ahead. Julie would have probably more details than I do, but.
Okay. Well, that's good to know. I
we'll
don't,
postpone that until John comes, or,
well, hopefully he's, although there shouldn't be trouble parking, but who knows? Okay. Demolition Committee. I don't think we've had anything, right? No?
No.
Didn't someone go out to 12 Little River Road? Was that,
That was a long time ago.
Yeah.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
Maybe I just read the email the other day
Oh, okay.
because it was, they got the demo permit for it.
Okay.
And it
Yep.
said something, I think John Gruder was there. Yeah,
Yeah.
okay, so
Yep.
that was a while ago,
Yep.
but
Yep.
it's actually, the demo permit actually got submitted. so.
Okay.
Okay, Select Board rep is not here. Planning Board rep is not here. And the Historic District Commission has not met since last year, so then we can go through that pretty fast. Well, we don't meet when there isn't any
Yeah.
agenda,
Yeah, okay, yep.
which is a good, I have been on plenty of committees that met when there was no agenda, so.
Okay.
Okay, up various projects and initiatives. And 23 Water Street Park, that's the old Chocolatier site. I don't know,
next door to it, yeah.
Yeah, we came before, I presented before you because it's the, oh yeah, well, whatever that RSA is, the 1441,
Whatever,
14A, that requires review from the various boards and commissions and input from the select board. That was back in December, we did that. I think it was December, that was with the minutes, right? Or what have you. So that was moved to the select board. The select board did accept the land. It is ours. The pocket park is now ours that we own. There was some interested citizens that came to the select board to start a committee, and the select board is creating a committee, created a, I don't,
They didn't have a quorum last Monday, too.
There was the time, I wasn't at that one, but at the previous meeting, they voted to establish a committee, come back with a charge
Okay.
for the March 18th meeting. That's probably, so they're working towards establishing a committee, and then once the committee's established, they're gonna start taking applications immediately through the town manager's office and get a committee together that will start meeting on what the vision and what will happen at that property, to make it a public park.
Do we want to
But
suggest?
I believe they didn't do anything last Monday because they didn't have a quorum. They didn't vote to do it because Dan had to recuse himself, and then there weren't enough people left.
Yeah.
So, but that's where, you're right, that's where they're going. Establish a committee
Yep.
and a mission statement. And so that's where, that'll be interesting. What I was wondering about it, but I guess we've sort of done it, is looked into the history of that ground, of thinking, there was a fire there and all that. But before that, I don't know how old the building was that was there. It certainly wasn't new. And I wondered if there were any, there must have been buildings there when good old John
call you
Wentworth
back, I'm in a
came
meeting.
when John Wentworth came here, he probably put a building up. But I don't know if it's been so disturbed that I don't know that it's worth even looking around for any, anything from the jewelry store, which was there the last, but.
Yeah, well, the history I know is when it burned down, the DPW was called in, came down with an excavator and some dump trucks and took some of the debris and brought it to Simpson's Pit and then kind of smashed the debris down.
Okay.
Jay Perkins was actually was there that night, and he told me that they kind of smashed down the burned wood and all that, and then, you know, someone may have put some loam on top of that and put the fence up, and it's 30 years later, it is what it, you know, it's how it sits. I did get, Dave Short just sent me, last week, he sent me an environmental report that Elliot Berkowitz was generous enough to share with us. I haven't dove into that yet because it's quite large, but I'm sure a lot of environmental assessments usually look at the history, because they look at the history to see if, oh, was there a dye factory there? Was there, you know, a leather curing? Like,
Yeah.
what chemicals might have been used? What these different industries? Was there an auto repair? You know, so they usually do that historic evaluation. So when I dive into it, I'll probably have more to report as I read that, because they probably would have done that.
Right.
They do the history search to see if anything warrants. Like, okay, if there's no history of anything that they can see, then it doesn't warrant further evaluation.
Correct.
But if there was like a leather dyeing factory there, they'd be like, okay, let's start, but there was some monitoring, there were some boring holes done. There's still a boring hole capped out there right now, so there's a lot of information, but once I dig into
I
it.
listened to your presentation
Yeah.
that you gave.
Okay.
It went into a lot of that.
Yeah,
which was
yeah.
interesting.
So I don't know
I think the
kinda-
worst thing there was a potato starch factory, and I don't think, and that was back in 1802, so,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, so I've never heard of anything like
there
red
was a,
flags over there, except the burnt building and maybe some jewelry. People.
Right.
So,
there was Wetherall's Variety Store, there was a shoe repair shop down there. But there wasn't any chemical factory that I've ever heard of.
yeah.
Plus, it has been continually used since the 1700s, so, I mean, if you're looking for Indian artifacts, they're long gone.
Was that where Montgomery Ward was at one point?
You know, it was up in that area.
Yeah.
So,
Before the jewelry store, perhaps?
Yep.
I'm not sure. All right, well,
Yeah, and
I'm sure we're looking into it anyway.
yeah,
Let's see.
yeah, and I mean, you always have, you're always conscious when you excavate, but if there was any type of cut operation up there, I'd be surprised if we went below where they already went below before, because there was a basement there beforehand, and it was all dug out. So I would think if you do some digging, you're probably not gonna dig into the native soils. But I don't know if there's ledge under there, I don't know what's under there, but I would think it's been dug before, so.
yep, it is.
Yeah, very disturbing.
Dug out,
So,
yeah.
Okay, well, we'll wait for your words after you've read the report.
In terms of the committee for that park, is it suggested that somebody from the historic district sit on? the
Well,
committee?
they usually like us, but we don't do much, I
They-
mean, other
they-
than try
they-
to keep it
They
relatively,
did not suggest that.
I think that would be a good idea. I know Julie was.
the only thing I
Yeah, it's a concern.
personally care about is what are you gonna do at the riverbank? I mean, that's why we have that ugly chain link fence at the library side, to keep the kids from getting into the river. So what are you gonna do?
Well, you'd have to put some sort of barrier there, because
Yeah.
the drop is probably about 6 feet
Yeah.
off the retaining wall that exists, which was part of the old fish ladder.
Yep.
Right,
There's about a 6-foot drop, so you'd probably, I would speculate you end up putting some sort of fencing
Yeah.
along
I would
there.
imagine that'll be the committee's
Yeah,
responsibilities to determine what kind of a fence or what kind of a barrier.
Yeah, I think they would recommend, I think their charge, is to, kind of come up with a plan, and then ultimately the select board to determine,
If I remember
What
the
goes there?
minutes, it was 10 people plus you, I think, are on it, a couple of, names, why don't, Recreation, who am I trying to think of?
Greg?
Greg, sure,
Bisson,
Greg Bisson.
director.
He's on it, and there are a couple other specific people, and then I think it's 9 citizens, something like that. So,
And I also asked Kristen to
I think,
kind of to get involved and help me out because she had some good ideas. We went down there and she was looking at the bank from the retaining wall to the water. And it's just a kind of a grass, like, you know, some type of perennial rye, fescue type mix there. And she said that might be a good place for some, you know, various native, New Hampshire native species that could be pollinate, you know, could provide pollination, pollinator sites and so forth. So I asked her to stay plugged in with me as well.
good.
So,
Except for the fact that I think she's plugged into so many things now.
yeah, I think she'd be happy to do this, though. This is right up
Oh,
her
yeah.
alley.
She's,
So,
she's good.
yeah.
Well, we could recommend that
Yes,
they
I
have
would
somebody,
like to do that.
but I don't think there's too much historical stuff there.
Well, I think Julie in particular
I would like to.
wanted to see some kind of cohesiveness of some kind.
Well, we don't have one, so,
Don't have what?
you know. Yeah, well, we can see, I don't know, I'm not speaking for Julie,
Okay,
so,
yes, I'm not either, but I know she
Okay.
was.
Are you saying you'd recommend, like,
I recommend somebody from the Historic District or the Heritage Commission sit on.
as part of the membership?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd-
Well, we want to go, make a formal recommendation to the select board?
I'd like to.
okay. Do you want to make a informal?
I'd like to make a suggestion,
Right.
a recommendation from the Heritage Commission that somebody from the Historic District or the Heritage Commission
Okay,
sit on the
Okay.
park committee.
I'll second it.
Okay,
Uh,
all right, the three of us, all those in favor? Aye,
Aye.
all right.
Now, Dave, there's somebody taking minutes from the tapes, I take it. Elizabeth? What?
Did she get, or, okay.
Should
well,
be.
Yeah, okay, then she'll get that. And we'll tell John, and maybe he has to write a little letter to the board.
Yeah, if someone can get me that, I can relay it to them.
Do you have anything else?
I do not.
I'll make a motion, we adjourn then,
Second?
Second?
all right?
Okay, we have a move to adjourn, that is non-debatable, all those in favor?
We're
Aye.
we're adjourned.
Thank you for
wondering
tuning in
if
to
John-
Exeter TV. Exeter TV is the town's public and government access channels, available on Comcast channels 6 and 22. Channel 6 is your channel. If you have an idea for a program, want to host your own talk show, or submit a film, we're here to get your content on television. On Channel 22, we bring you live and replay coverage of government meetings and other town updates. A third channel, Blue Hawk Media, is operated by SAU 16 and can be found on Channel 8, with all your school sports, events, and meetings. You can watch Exeter TV online at exeternh.tv, Apple TV, and on Roku. Find us on social media for extra content. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell to get notified about live streams and new content. Tune in to our platforms every other Friday to watch the Exeter Biweekly Report, with recaps of recent events, updates from town departments, and messages from nonprofits in your area. If you head to our website, exeternh.tv, we invite you to sign up to our newsletter to receive monthly updates about new content, upcoming meetings, and more. We'd like to thank you for taking the time to watch Exeter TV and hope that you tune in to our other content